Okay, so eventually you are all going to stop reading other people's books because it is just their concepts on life, their perception on life, their understanding of their own life, our life, or the universe in general, on their level of consciousness. So basically, when you are done with external search, then you're gonna go inward and you're gonna really start listening to your own teacher within. So we're all becoming our own gurus, you know. We are our own gurus, but some people don't know that yet. They don't know how to access their inner knowing. And of course, like whatever each step they take is getting them closer to that. So, whatever it is. So, in the beginning, everybody searches outside, externally. Everybody searches for love externally. And then you're going to find that all within yourself. And as I wrote it, I think it was like last year, who would know better how to love me than myself? And if I don't know how to love me, how the hell do you expect anyone to love you the right way? Right way, meaning you are the only one. I mean, and Ascension 1 to 3, and it's an older video, like a few years ago. Exactly. I'm the one and only for me. Truly? Yes. I did not say you cannot have a meaningful, beautiful, conscious relationship with another if this is your desire. But, that is only possible with another conscious human who is in the vicinity of your vibration. And until you guys don't love yourselves, you can never have a better relationship with anyone else because basically it only can be less. It's like really like I went through certain things in that sense. Looking after for bliss, looking for love outside of yourself has no meaning whatsoever. So no matter what anybody writes or teaches you about relationships and stuff like that, they only have their level of understanding and they might not be in fully understanding all of it. So it's like you basically become this ego. This is why, at one point I was writing a Stellar Star 33 Raw because an Eye of Horus and all that, because the school of our own inner enlightenment is when you go step by insights, and by insights you're going to see more and more clearly, and then you really are going to be like an eagle looking down on your life or your situations or circumstances which you have chosen to use constant self awareness, to learn how to be present in yourself enough that you actually stay and sustain constant self awareness, not the awareness of another and then really like you constantly like shifting from inside to outside, shift. But when you stay too long outside and you get kind of sucked in and you believe that that is real, that's out there in that sense, or more real than what you feel inside and what you sense inside regarding the situation, regarding another human, or regarding whatever. And so basically, we all learn to write our own book of life, book of life, that was one, or the book of death, or book of, all that. And because this is what we learn, a lot of people don't understand, especially scientists do not understand really, who are really just in the frontal lobe, rationally. uh, they only work with their intellect. You can take it this far with intellect, but eventually, you have to use your intuition and imagination, and intuition and imagination, and intuition is imagination is kind of like intuition. And and it's everybody. Like when I was doing a meditation, uh, I don't know, a few years ago, and I asked who are my guides, and even to my surprise, like I did not have any expectations because I really like, okay, who are my guides? And you know who came? Who my guides are? Um, Tesla and Edgar Casey. And and I thought I was always fascinated by Tesla. I loved him dearly. I felt his pain, how he wanted to give humanity free energy, and how we were at a crossroads, and then we're using all those dirty crap energies. But we're awakening, and how things are shifting and whatever. And you see, there are just so many who are pioneers in discovering something more. And this was always the this is and the stupidity of humanity, because humanity was always led by people, very often, and were in high positions that were not as um, um, advanced, um, in that sense, in consciousness. But of course they have to be present in the practical life, and so that is why most of you are not really present in the practical life at this point, because maybe you are in the embodiment process or integration process and whatever, and later on you probably will, most probably, because it's not that you're gonna continue to evolve. Don't misunderstand me, but it's not gonna be that you are going to be in the mind, because eventually you're going to enter the no mind state, and then it's just going to be like, once you're solidified within yourself, you're going to lead a life of knowing, an inner knowing, and that you're going to have decisions like this. You're going to make it, you're not going to think or overthink anything anymore, because basically you have cleansed, cleared all that which was not understood about your own shadows, and then eventually you're just going to step into your own, to your full complete power, and then you're going to be anchored, your higher self will be anchored in your body permanently, and you're going to live as an enlightened human. No heaviness. It's You're going to use your omnipotence, which is living life fearlessly and living life joyously, and really see the beauty in everything. And so basically, you have to, and not have to, but you cannot avoid really to become your own teacher, actually, your own guru. And of course, as well, if you when you become your own guru, and you're no longer looking for external knowledge outside of yourself, that does not mean that you're not gonna hear or really, some sentence on a billboard or somewhere, or in a newspaper, a headline or something will not contain any messages for you. But you no longer go to teachers, you no longer go to healers, because you are healing yourself, you are teaching yourself. And the funny thing is, so that's why you're not going, and you're going to make decisions based on your higher wisdom. And for example, a very good example was, when I was coming out of, when my Kundalini activation was done, and I was in I was so deep. I really was immersed in the depths of my own hell. And then at that point, the level of consciousness I found myself was where I used to be, of course, because I dipped down, after the bliss, to really face the primal fear, which I talk about a lot in other videos too, which contained also the spark of my blueprint without distortion. And so basically, when I was at that level, all those old belief systems came alive again. It's like the morphogenetic field contains on that level in the astral realm, my pain body, emotional body, and all that. And so the funny thing was that all of a sudden I thought that healing is out there. But I remembered, because I wrote for 7 years about all those things. And I said, but I know that the healer is within me. And um, and then there was this dream that was showing me that with this crooked ear, with this dogmatic black person was coming towards me while I'm really, all that light is shining upon me, and that's why they can see me. So, but I was down there in that darkness of mine. And so funny that I just said stop, because he said, okay, I can help you. And I said, but I can help myself. I know how to heal. I know how to do this. I know how to do that. I have everything is within me, the healer, the teacher, the this, the that. So why would I join him on a timeline which suggests that something is outside of me when I know that all that is within me? I can do it. I can heal myself. Or let's say I had, and in those phases, I had like a dream in which in my index finger there was kind of like this blood drawn heart, and underneath my skin, so I had to cut it and let it really flow out. And all of a sudden I find myself in a healing room, and I was getting an injection by a doctor and a nurse, and I had to stand in some, I don't know, like a vertical MRI or something like that. And and they said, you're going to have cancer if you're not moving away from uh, this being so submissive, or really deceiving your own self, or staying in that level, because that level contained that level of consciousness, which I have not been for a long, long time, but I had to come down for the last piece of me. And then the ascension started again, because you become fearless once you face the primal fear, the reptilian fear within you. So basically, I was on those. However, I've been writing for 7 years, and on the mental realm, I took it all the way to the plateau. So I knew, and there was the memory of my higher consciousness, thank to me and thank to everything, and that I was aware of what I already knew, although I knew it on an information level. But later on, I had to integrate it and really go through the whole experiences, but now make it mine. Because whoever entered me, because I had this walk-in experience like in 2013, uh, he or she was the one who was really telling me what to write. It was like this, kind of like this, being in this meditative state, very floaty, and I was writing, and it was like, but I was aware of it. I was everything. It was just so easy for me. It's like I was almost, it felt like I was in an alpha state constantly. And this is how I was writing. So I guess this is how automatic writing is. And I experienced automatic writing uh, w- under the shower, and a lot with water, being in the bathtub and whatever. But once I was under the shower, and then all of a sudden I just felt that all these sentences are coming in, and I had to get out. I was like this vet, it really like completely, um, everything. And so I had to go to my computer and then started writing the sentences, because the sentences were complete. I didn't, it was not on a level of thinking or anything, it was receiving. And it's like writing, 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 writing. And that is I think I made a video out of it. I have the Confession of a Star Seed. Then I had this, be or stay true to yourself, and then the other was the pledge. So if you want to look it up, listen to it, whatever. And it was amazing, that I did not want to enter on this guy's or this man's timeline. And first I dreamed about him, and then he appeared in my reality. And then I had to say no, thank you, because I did not want to join him in lack of awareness and start beating the drum of that old level of consciousness with him. And on top of that, I heard him saying, and I heard his voice because I talked to him for an hour, but I was not really paying attention to what he was actually saying, but what he was not saying, and I could sense with my energy. And and then I remember this dream which I had like 2 days before that, and I knew that he was coming. And he also had you know I mean, he was on that level of consciousness and in this dogmatic superstitious level. And how he was talking, I could hear all of those spiritual blind spots that he had and still carried. And then in his voice I could hear the shaking. Of course I need female energy too. And I just thought, no, I'm not going there. No fucking way. I was just coming out of this fucking dark hole. I'm not gonna join on this level any fucking body. So on that timeline, because every choice you make creates a different timeline, a different destiny for yourself. So you have to really be aware of who or what kind of fucked up, distorted belief system of others you are joining or not, because that's your choice. And your power is always in the now. So you're creating your future in this now by your very own choices that you make, which are either self empowering or self disempowering. And this is the only thing. This is the only thing you need to know. Just like when I was in Romania and a friend of ours took us um, to the bear cave or something, or cave of the bear, or whatever what the name was. And um, and the, the bear is all about balance. And I already had after that I had this dream where it said, okay, we are going back to balance, and you retired. So retiring the bodhisattva, not joining on other people's fucked up distorted timeline belief systems, and take it as your truth, because it's not my truth. It is their truth. It is their game. It is their role, whatever they're playing, that or they think they play, or they don't even know that they play a role because they are not aware of their sub personalities yet. And so it's amazing, and I remember how angry this guy got when I said no, thank you, no, that's it. But why not? And and it was this, all of a sudden you could see the narc coming out of him, the disconnectedness from his own thing, because he believed that he needs female energy, and I was not about to give it to him, because I did not want to join in on that level. I did not want to dip myself into the belief system of his, and not joining and not beating the drum with him, because I don't care. Because, if I can make myself diseased, then I can actually make myself eased as well. So the healer is always in you. But that was just a warning, because it just meant the dream, don't stay on this level of consciousness, because then you're going to make yourself, sick. But I also had that like few years back, they were showing me I'm going to have, a certain other disease, an autoimmune disease, if I keep continuing on that level. And then I stopped. And so these are warning signs. So we always get warnings. And the funny thing was when, I said, we need the ego, because a lot of those misconceptions about the ego and killing it. And we were all these Buddhists and this and that in other lifetimes. And we carried this distorted belief that you have to kill something within you. No, you don't have to kill anything. You just need to understand, and you need to bring your self-awareness and have it, and have a sustainable self-awareness. And how can you sustain your self-awareness? This is the only question that, and have it active in every day. So, and a lot of people, when you start reading other people's perceptions and concepts and whatever, and sometimes, yes, it is very uplifting, But when you don't agree with something in that book, always be very critical. Do not believe every word a person said, not even me, because it might not be your truth yet. It might, maybe you're not ready for what I am ready for. So we share it, but make your own conclusions, or whatever does not feel true to you, please uh, don't, because it's the same as, I would say, every person on this planet, most most people, believe me, lacking self-love, lacking self-understanding, lacking self-knowledge, big time. And but they are here to do the job, but they are doing it at their own pace. And just like my so-called teacher once, or whatever, that for a time that we've been together, and I learned a lot of things from him, but he also had blind spots, and I did not know that back then. And so I took on a lot of fucked up crap from him also, which was not agreeing, my soul was not agreeing with. And but like, at that time I was this external searcher and seeker, and so I thought that somebody knows more than I do. Yes, we all do. Some of them know more than we do, and then they still have some shadow work they need to do. And everybody has shadow work that they need to do, believe me. And no matter how perfect they seem, no matter how much you'd like to put them on a pedestal, but it's really the only teaching there is. And if they don't teach you that, they don't teach you anything really valuable. You need to listen, and listen to your own inner guidance, which I call emotional GPS, because your body feels first, and then your mind comes, and then this whole connection with the mind body emotional system connection, and your pain body and all that stuff, and then how your own mind is trying to pull you back. And the other night I just had an interesting experience, and I've been awakened up around 2 o'clock, and then all the situations that I've been in made me realize how we are so misguided by society, and even traditional spiritual, uh, esoteric knowledge and all that stuff that they call it. um, because most of the time they took me into a deeper hole than I ever was. And when I accepted certain things, and when they started out with this, that you should not feel those negative feelings, and then we kept suppressing it instead of understanding it. And so that is, not true. So you have to find beauty in all those uncomfortable feelings that you might have, because you will, life will not stop happening. You no matter what you do, life is constantly here. No matter if you leave your spouse, or if you leave this or you leave that, life will keep happening to you in another town, or in another country, or in another whatever. I've been running away from my own crap. I even went 10,000 miles away, not, running away from my own problems that I should have faced. Problems equals opportunity to be understood, on a higher level. But, I was not ready to face those things. So I was constantly putting myself in the same kind of bucket, you know, from bucket to bucket, and then it was pulling me down like the crabs. And so the only thing, you have to stop running from bucket to bucket. Just the actors change, just people will change, but the same lesson you have to learn about yourself is going to still be there, basically. So if you did not stand up like I had, back then, I left myself behind for a relationship or whatever, or for a job or whatever, and I did not stand up for myself or my own value, and I still took the job, or I still entered a relationship which was not good for me. or I knew that I deserve better. But at the time, I did not know that I deserve better because I did not love myself. You see, so whatever I thought that I was worthy of, this is exactly where I was entering into. And basically, the only thing I needed to recognize is that I'm worth more, and this is not it. I want something else. I want more, and then just keep going and keep going and keep going, and don't stop until you're there. And you see, so we all have those spiritual blind spots, and this is why we came to discover them and not to deny them. And when those feelings show up, which you consider uncomfortable, you should consider it educational. So those feelings are not uncomfortable, fear, whatever, shame, guilt, whatever that you, because you have to kind of understand, why do you feel shame, or why do you feel guilt when let's say you're standing up for yourself, when you're standing up to be in you rather than in other people's expectations of you. And so I choose to be me and dare to be me without guilt ever. Because I had this thing with the guilt. I was like constantly feeling the guilt every time I chose myself. Why? I was conditioned. My mind was conditioned to be submissive. So in this lifetime, I have to free myself from that guilt. Imagine I was living always in a, you know, I had a good time. And when I was living in a richer, more abundant uh, circumstance, I had guilt regarding my mother, that she had to work her whole life. But that was her choice. She did not know better. I did not know that I did not have conscious parents. I did not know. So, like when we are freaking conditioned from little on to agree and play on their freaking fucking timeline, which is not my timeline. That's their timeline. If they want to suffer, it's their choice. And you see, the we empath, we're joining other people as and consider them victims when there are no victims. There is no lack. There is lack of consciousness, and there is their lack of knowledge regarding themselves of their own ignorance. This is what it is. It's nothing else. And so I'm not responsible for their lack of uh, self knowledge, and I am not responsible for their emotional, unresolved emotions that they kept suppressing. And, like, I even had conversations with my mom, when I said something in a very neutral, it was like, okay, just requesting something, but very neutral. And then immediately she took it as an attack. And I said, okay, in your family, and I know that in her family they had no personal space. They had absolutely no personal space. Plus, if somebody dared to say something to you, or said something truthful, or requested something and said, please don't do that next time, I would love you to not wake me up, let's say in the middle of the night, or whatever, for something, because unless you're dying, and plus, even if somebody is dying, is it my problem? No, not really. I had that when I felt sorry for her when she had a series of strokes. And that was years ago. And of course, we all like to assist and say there are opportunities for you to learn about these things and find out what these signs are and what they're calling you to understand now. So when she came back from the hospital, I sat down with her and I said, okay, I'm going to tell you exactly what I would tell to any client of mine who was through with whatever you had to go through. You are responsible for your own health. And the question is, do you want to live, or do you want to die? Or do you want to whatever? And I said, what is your biggest fear that you can pinpoint now in this moment, if I ask you that you're most afraid of? You know what she said? She was afraid of being incapable of taking care of herself. like, physically, like, paralyzed or something. And I said, you see, you are you had like four strokes already, and each one of them were heavier and bigger and bigger and bigger, so they're increasing. So I just tell you that, of course, in the cards of having strokes, also have a card of that which you're most afraid of. But do you really want to take it that far to experience it, or you are open to discover how you could stop this keep happening to you? And are you willing to change? Are you willing to change your viewpoints about things? Because, when I was telling her stuff, she said, I have nothing to learn anymore. I learned enough. I'm 70 years old or 75 or whatever, I don't have to learn anything. I said, okay, then you're going to suffer it. You don't want to learn it. You don't want to do it until you're capable of seeing, thinking, moving, being in a pretty much close to health, but you have little problems at this point now. But if you're not stopping for a second, step back and look at your whole life, and look at all these things, why they keep happening to you, and you don't want to change that and change the belief which you believed, because many people believed it in your family, that the the old age is sick age. I said, you have to delete this belief. You have to replace it with something, because this is exactly how it works. If you don't replace it with something else, it's just whatever. You have to replace it consciously. You choose that consciously, what you believe, and you keep practicing that belief by keep telling yourself a lot to rewrite your little brain, um, and the program, like take out the program and put in another one which is much more self-supporting than not. My cat came in, and she's so cute. I mean, he's so cute, but she's more like an androgen because she had been sterilized, or he had been sterilized. So he's my babe, and it's so funny because he just wants to come up here. Do you want to come up? Come on, baby. Come on. Come, come. No? Okay. So basically, all star seeds have cats. And so basically, they are amazing assistant. They are Zen masters, and I love them so. And I also have a cat. Kitty, kitty. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Yes, there he is. But I don't know if you can see him. Look at that. Look at the babe. So she's my wild side. I'm a tiger, and of course the Mao, which is her. You see these kitties with her stripes like a tiger. There is they are really the messenger of the goddess, the Catwoman. And I if you didn't see the Catwoman, the movie Catwoman with Halle Berry, because that's my most exciting ones actually. And when she goes to that old lady, and I mean, in the whole movie, that message just spoke to me so well. Like, I don't know, when I seen the movie a few years ago, and I thought, oh my God, it contains all the messages, all that which I wanted to know. And thank you so much, to bring it to my attention. And so there he is. Oh, cute face, come here. And so basically, he's my babe, and and he's like a child to me. I just love her so much dearly, and he loves me. And so we went through a lot of things together, and even at times he helped me with other stuff, and I felt like really, really, like there were activations coming in, and I had like those 3-day periods, like years ago, when he wanted to come into my room so much. I did close it and whatever. He was banging on the door and all that, so he wanted to lay with me. And believe it or not, I knew that it's gonna last for 3 days, whatever I was going through, and my baby, uh, after that, got very sick. And the fun thing was that I've seen that there was a little trauma. I wanted to take him to the doctor because he was really just laying there and did not do much, did not eat, nothing. And then I said, okay, we gotta go to the doctor. And I wanted to take her to the doctor, or she, he, whatever, no gender. And and basically, I've seen how he got nervous and kind of like felt like this vomiting, but he did not vomit anything. But I've seen some black thing leaving her, and I looked in the grass after, but there was nothing. So my secondary inner vision have seen what was leaving her. So whatever that was in me, or whatever, it seemed like he collected it. And that could be like dark thoughts, it could be dark belief systems, something which was not good for me, some old, because everything is energy, basically. Everything is energy. And uh, and and it's not that you have to, but that was like the weirdest thing I have seen. And you know what's funny? uh he got better after, and immediately then he started playing and stuff. So that was very, very interesting, but he did not leave my side whatsoever. So he was always with me. And so he's the messenger, helping me to stay wild and free, and just be free of it all, and make the mind body emotional connection, and understand your fears, understand everything. And like, it's also was interesting for me how we've been conditioned to feel sorry for victims, when in fact there are no victims. And but there are people with their lack of consciousness. uh, they don't know that, but they consider themselves victims, and I used to be one of them. And so basically, you know in my dreams they said, um, don't get involved, do not feel sorry for them, and do not give emotions to those things. And funny thing, uh, faster and faster we start seeing, and we're staying in constant awareness. And then I see, how all these things just really serve me, to see my emotions, see the conditioning of the mind, which he tends to pull me back to, and then cut it right there. So basically, the funny thing is, I don't think that you can, you know it can lurk there. You always have to be aware and self-aware that you do not allow anything to pull you back. And so, and sometimes, I ask myself, and every time I was done with somebody, like old relationships, and people did not change and did not grow. Um, when I started seeing that my mother's house is falling apart, meaning her house, her body, because it's our house, we're housing the soul. And those people who are falling apart and don't want to learn and don't want to really understand the deeper meaning of their own life, and don't want to grow spiritually, really, they're going to suffer, and eventually they're going to learn. But we have to disconnect from those people. We have to disconnect from the conditioning of the mind, because that's a program. And this is how you give your energy away. This is how you give your life force away. And then you're going to stay there with fucking absolutely nothing. And then you wonder uh, why you became the victim of those people, because you identified with them and not with yourself and with your higher well-being and what serves you the most. And a lot of times what serves you the most, and both of you, when you let each other go, like for example, if you are with a partner, I've been with narcs uh, who were really sucking my energy, uh, like for 14 years. I just did not know, I did not understand. I had this constant thing in my third chakra. I was leaking that energy. And I did not know. I mean, he was addicted to drama. I mean, every time I was addicted to peace, I wanted to have peace all the time. But, I also had this thing that I was so wanting to keep peace, that for that I was willing to leave myself behind and willing to compromise all the time. And he was addicted to this drama, and every 3 days there had to be some fucked up problem or something, whatever. And then later on, I started looking for psychological abuse. Like it's so funny because your intuition, your soul is kind of leading you to informations. And I started looking, like domestic abuse, psychological abuse, all that. It was like, what the fuck? I didn't even understand why I'm looking at those things. But you see, this is exactly what you start looking at. Or let's say when you are in another and with another narc, you start binging on narc videos or something like that because you kind of feel that what the fuck is going on. If you're an intuitive empath, your soul will lead you to information which is really very helpful to you. So first, you have to consciously acknowledge that you might be an enabler of an arc, or you might be someone who is processing emotions for other people, and you have to stop that because it takes your life force away. And this is why you're not really um, doing anything for yourself, but you constantly are occupied with them and not with yourself. You focus on them and not on yourself. So this will really take your life force away because you have to shift. You don't have to care about them whatsoever because those people are um, not serving you, in a way. So if you and I betrayed myself because for that I asked myself the question, would I be with this guy, because we've been together like 14 years but at the time, would I be with this guy if it was not for financial advantages and the life that I'm living? And you know what? And if I had a career or if I had something that I was doing for myself instead, and you know what? I had to say I would not be with him. I would not have been with him for years. And so this was the time when I realized, holy shit, I'm not happy. It's like I feel like being in a trap. And so all those feelings, whenever that feeling comes up, it's like when you feel that you are being in a trap somehow, and you ask the question the first time, is it time to leave them? Is it really time to leave them? Because my job is done with them. And you see, when my mother has those strokes, it was like, and I was dreaming about me bringing the tiles on my bicycle, which means balance, but bringing the tires on my bicycle to repair her house. And I thought, fuck, I'm not going to repair anybody's house. They have to repair it because we are here not to do it for them anymore. They have to find a way. So we just show the way. I've been taking her to places like, I don't know, 7 years ago and said, okay, you have to learn how to take care of yourself. So there is this energy work. If you want, you can practice it, you can learn it how to do it for yourself and keep yourself and maintain health for yourself. She did not want to do it. I said, okay, I said, it is your own interest. Guess what? She said, I said, you do it for your own sake. And she said, no. I said, okay, you know what? I understand now. Do it for my sake because they are self sacrificing people like I used to be in playing her role in my marriage or whatever, that living together situation. And because each and every one of us carry the crap of our parents. I was an alcoholic when I had to go down at the middle of the night at 11 o'clock for the second bottle of wine or the third bottle of wine. I started really like looking at it, holy shit. It's like, am I living my father's life now? And then previously I was living my mother's life. I mean, what the fuck? Finally, I want to live my own life. I want to do whatever. I want to have fun. I'm going to have a very, very interesting, beautiful, permanent young age. And I'm going to have fun. And I'm having fun because we're learning, we're discovering more of ourselves. And this is why we are here. We are not here to take care of other people. That is completely fucking unnatural. We are here to take care of ourselves, to really, really be everything that we can be. Meaning, I am everything that I can be. I love this. I love myself. I love, that I can understand everything, and then I can see things and through everything, and then I can be this, really, that eagle that really flies high above and looks down and see all the pieces, all the slices of the whole thing, like from all angles. I love this. This is my specialty. This is who I am. I can see through everything, even the things that are not said, because through my intuition, through my dream state, through this, through that, feeling, knowing. Like, for example, the other day there was this client, little cat here, and so through a client the other day, previously she wanted to have a consultation and stuff, and then she, we did not meet, or we did not talk, or whatever. And then I thought, well, whatever, so she doesn't need it, that's okay, it's great. So I'm not getting upset about getting something or not getting something, so it doesn't matter what happens, really, because the only thing we need to is we have to stay in peace. Stay in peace no matter what happens and does not happen, or whatever. So it's just being in self so much, and creating that calmful peace to self, and not worry about other people, or don't worry, it's their business. Their health is their business, their whatever. And if people don't appreciate your knowledge, the people that don't appreciate who you are, or they cannot see you, you don't need to go out and convince them, not at all. You just know who you are, and that's it. And you have this tremendous knowledge and tremendous wisdom, and and whatever, just use it to your own advantage. Don't worry about, who sees you or who does not see you. And even if nobody would ever notice me in this world ever, you know it's just perfect. That's so funny, because I when I've seen the movie with Brittany Murphy, or her life or something, the biography movie, and when she said after 5 years being a star, or 6 years, or I don't know, she was, I don't know, just 25 or something, and she said, I was craving other people's attention for as long as I lived, but now I just don't even care. I would just wish they would leave me alone. And it was so funny for me, because I guess eventually all those so-called stars, eventually we realized that that was their dream, but that dream has all kinds of different components, which they might not thought about it before they were really craving that attention or something. And you know we I think a lot of us star seeds, and we just have a completely different so-called goal in that sense, and probably not even a goal. We just want to be in ourselves, and we just want to experience our full, complete wholeness. Because experiencing our wholeness and really finding the beauty and falling in love with self is the most beautiful experience you can experience, actually. And this is what everybody is really craving. It's like, you just crave to be you. You don't crave anything else. You don't need anything else. I just want to stand in my own self, completely, utterly in self, without guilt, shame, or self condemnation. That was my wish. That was, experience. Let me experience me in the most powerful and peaceful and more beautiful way that any human and any spiritual being and any be me experiences the soul. I want to experience my whole soul as a human being in me, you know without all that and understand everything and just, live a fearless life, live without self condemnation, because I'm coming from that. I'm coming from self sacrifice. I'm coming from all those things that we used to believe, all that crap. And I'm not a religious person, and not in this lifetime. I never been. I never really believed in this external God thing, whatever that people do. And but I did not believe in myself either. So it was like this, because we've been beaten to death with old fucking dogma, you know, that were killing our souls. And we did not allow ourselves to be who we are because we did not know who we were, you know, and now we are remembering that. And I just want to remember more and live that remembrance to the fullest. And see the beauty in everything, see and appreciate the beauty in everything, even in the uncomfortable feelings that I sometimes, let's say, feel. And but they are messengers, and they're pinpointing something out for me to really come into terms and really understand my mind, how it works, understand everything, understand my emotions, understand me. And all of you who are still want to understand other people, you're on the path of not getting closer to you. But of course, yes and no at the same time. It's simultaneous. That is why it's so hard to really wrap our brain around this whole thing. It is simultaneous because through that, you eventually will understand that you need you, and you need to understand you and not them. So basically, it's still taking you to you. It's just you're doing this detours. I've been doing detours. We all do detours, and that even the detour is really there for us to discover something which we need to discover to really clear the distortion in our head and in our misunderstanding, and really just stay in peace. And the, the peace that you want is within you. It is not out there. Out there, as I always say, right now at this level of consciousness, I am. There is just manipulation, distortion, and distractions, and you need to stay within self. That does not mean that you will not live life, okay? That you stop living. No, this is not what I mean by that. It's it's you just be in you and stay close to yourself. Self focus, your self focus and compassion. Self compassion is your golden compass. So the compassion includes the word compass, right? So magic word, right? Compass, and then ION. So your self compassion is your compass, your golden compass. And this is what you need to know. That will keep you on track, on your own path, that you are not going to be led astray by blind people. They are all with the white stick, tuk, 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 going on the street. They are with the white stick. Believe me, they don't know. Most of them don't know. You very rarely find really people who really inspire you, and they are not there to whatever kill you or whatever, be jealous of you or all that stuff. Because when you discover that somebody is jealous of you or your life, and even I've seen it in my own mother's eyes, because she never could live the life like I do, and I understand her jealousy in that sense. When I was going through all of the darkness that I had to go through, I even felt jealousy. And in this life, I never really felt jealousy of anybody. I was always looking up on some, and I was always looking at them and saying, what could I learn from these people? And of course, they were having something which I did not have, maybe inner peace, maybe they had wisdom, they had whatever. And I thought, what could I learn from these people? Or what is it, what is there? But when I was going through the dark night of the soul, I experience jealousy. So I understand them. It's not that I don't, but for us intuitive empaths, that we understand everything on all kinds of level, sometimes it could be a burden, it could be a hindrance, because you understand them so much and you love them so much that you allow their frequency to mix up your own. And and then they might get louder if you allow them to get too close, because those people, some I experienced people who were like this covert narcissists, that they are with this manipulation. And like for us, like I used to be one who heard the praise. I was like, I was giving them everything, like my whole fucking heart, my everything. And you can relate to this, I'm certain. And and then I was wondering, why am I staying with empty hands, And so it's like, please, you have to keep most of the stuff for yourself, not what whatever, your energy, your life energy, your time, and all this. Because before I was like this careless person with my time and energy. I gave it and dispersed it all over the freaking place. And then I wondered why nothing stays for me. So you have to be really able to consciously manage and appreciate your own energy, your own time, your own knowledge, your all that stuff that you have. And so you might have those things where you have a channel and you share your whatever that you discovered, because that will greatly impact everything. And it plus acts as an affirmation for you. It helps you to really see clearer. And as you're repeating and saying all those things, it really helps you to rewrite all those fucked up programs in your head. And so it's a double-edged sword, which serves you, you know you and whoever will listen or that can relate, and really maybe look at it as a confirmation. It sounds like, oh, this is great. Like I met someone, let's say, on the street, and I was just sharing a recent experience with her because we're talking about something. And she said, oh my God, this, Stella, you don't know, this sounds like a message to me because I'm going through the same thing. This is like a message. That she was a very conscious person because she got it, that I'm not talking about my experiences to fucking be egotistical, but there is a message included in my stories. There is a message included in my experiences. And if you can relate, there is a message for you there. And so she recognized that. So she was not like, so many people like, oh, she's so egotistical. She only talks about her stuff. Yes, because in the story there is the fucking message and there is the learning. And if you recognize that, you are in the vicinity of my consciousness. Okay? So thank you so much. Hello, bye guys, and have a great weekend. Thanks for listening. This was it for today. Bye.